Alright, this is the rune tree I'm working with, and to Crossbow Scarlet I go, oh my goodness, there's something on my face and it hurts, and I'm trying to make the best of it, but when it doesn't work, when it doesn't work out for me, or it doesn't hurt, oh my goodness, I'm trying to avoid saying words that make my face hurt, and I'm failing a lot, but let's just keep moving. So I put on a bunch of elemental. If you couldn't tell by the rune tree, I put on a lot of elemental perks. Probably not for the best, but I mean it's RNG wise. It's RNG, so RNG wise, it should work out. We'll see. I mean, this is kind of like the brute forced monkey brain strat to go to when you're looking. It's like, oh, I'm playing Scarlet, so I should put on elemental buffs. So. Although if I fail again, then I'll really consider looking into what I should be changing, aside from weapon, because I need to do crossbow as well. So I'm going to be using crossbow with someone. I could be using crossbow Hina, but I like picking the weapon directly underneath the character. So I'm going to try to make crossbow... Oh, I'm going to try and succeed with crossbow Scarlet. No, I just reset myself back. Dragon Egg actually isn't bad, but I'm going to... you know what? Actually, no. Quick Hands. Quick Hands for ammo, because Quick Hands leads to more ammo, so... More directly, anyway. And more immediately, so if I level up... I should be reaching, like, level 6 or 7 before Shub comes, so... With that in mind... Hopefully I'll get enough good perks by then. Also, I would prefer haste here as well. But armed and ready is just too good, so we're gonna take armed and ready. I need to stop like semi-autoing with the crossbow because yeah, when I get ethereal, I can't tell unless I'm shooting, which is a legitimate criticism. I mean, being able to tell when certain status is up, when you're invincible, when you have infinite ammo, might help a bit, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's something the dev could do if they choose to, but we'll see. And I think I took, yeah, from what I saw there, I took regeneration. Did I? I can't remember now. Well, moving on. Yeah, that way I can at least clear more mobs. Though with double shot it helps. That way I'm not missing as often. Because if I miss a bullet, that's no damage, as opposed to at least hitting one of these 2 double shot bullets, which is still damage. Granted, it might not matter with how much HP these mobs have on Darkness 15, and with duration scaling, but time scaling, I don't know what to call it exactly, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because now that we have Ethereal, when Ethereal procs, it's great. When it otherwise, I mean, in between, if you're in a bad situation like and me losing shield there, but still, when you're in a bad situation and you don't have maybe Cadence, which is much more stable DPS, then yeah, I can see why it could get bad. But in waves where you're getting swarmed, you're killing 50 enemies really frequently as well. So, I mean, their Ethereal is good as well, but yeah, split fire. Oh, my face. Yeah, so this should be okay. I think last time I even died at a spot I shouldn't have died at, so I mean that's true for a lot of my deaths, but it's not for a lack of build. Even if I take 1 or 2 neutral perks, or quote unquote bad perks as some people might call them, depending, but I should be able to survive. It's more movement and me paying attention as well, but again, split fire and again, since these are progression videos, I'm just gonna take the perks I know are good when I see them, or perks I believe are good. In case there are those who look down on the frost perks or double shot perks. Yeah. So, and it's not fair to say, oh, well, if you're doing a pacifist run, then those perks are, well, I don't know, because I haven't really gone for a pacifist run on purpose yet. If I see the chance, I try, but 10 fire rate every time she inflicts a burn resets on reload. Unless I never need to reload, but That's not quite fair to say. Yeah, we'll take haste here because the shove is coming. Otherwise, I would have liked, obviously I would have liked Fusillade or any other. I have split fire and double shot, but fanfire and obviously Fusillade would be great as well. Because Crossbow already does high damage, then that means I can, you know, stand around and clear waves a lot more comfortably. But hopefully what I have now will work out for me if my RNG is bad on level up. So how's everyone doing today? The community seems to be doing well. Lots of healthy conversations in the Minutes Till Dawn community. But I'm also listening to other communities as well because certain games are about to update. But yeah, nothing much else to look into. I mean, for me anyway, I could look into more stuff, but I mean, playing the game is playing the game. It'll provide me probably more experience than looking into certain things, which in itself could be a good thing, but, you know, learning HP values, which I really should start remembering. But on top of that, remembering what all the perks do and looking into perks that I've yet to run into first. That said, Shub should just be melting here, so yeah, that's like a 7 second Shub kill. And we'll do this because of or in my mind, because of Scarlet's fire rate. I mean, when I don't need to reload, the decreased fire rate is nullified by her increased fire rate because of her own perk. So, otherwise, you know, it could end up pretty badly if I just finish the reload, which is why I want either Fanfare or Fusillade. Fanfire would help me while I'm reloading, and Fusillade would help me right after I'm reloading, so I can get more bullets out in clear waves that might be in my face immediately. Again, that's my line of thinking. As my mic proceeds to statically pop, because I'm moving a little bit. But yeah, we're stuck in this box for another 10 seconds. Not really a swarm, but I will be getting swarmed in about 2 minutes or so. So let's hope. Yeah, it's kind of a cool effect, Scarlet's perk in tandem with Ethereal, because since you're not going to reload for like an infinity amount of time, it means that, yeah, you're going to be shooting Scarlet's passive along with benefiting from her perk, if you get it perk 1. If you don't get it perk 1, I mean, I'm sure you can make the others work, but it's pretty nice with Ethereal. I just, off of first impression. Because then you turn into a blender, so until you need to reload, of course. But you know, that's not often a problem if I'm reloading after everything's dead. That said, there is experience everywhere, so probably not holding down my fire key. Oh my goodness! And then I did that. Would probably do me some amount of good. So we're gonna take Fanfire. I would take Shield for defensive, but I think I should be doing okay. And the only thing that would threaten me as I dodge one are the projectiles, but not too bad. So the only other things that I'm really going to be worried about, unless the swarm waves kill me, is, oh my god, stop popping, Mike, please. Why do? Our bosses where I don't have Ethereal proc, because it can get pretty messy there. Even then, it's not like the wave disappears after I kill the boss, so for Shoggoth, the wave might end up doing some amount of damage to me. And I do want more HP, because since I'm not a robot or a player that is capable of, you know, paying attention and moving and never getting hit, then I kind of want health if possible. Otherwise, the shield will have to be my best bet. And failing that, I will need to just kill everything before they touch me. But again, we'll deal with that when we get there. So as we dance in this blender, I'm thinking of what else I wanted to do for this game, unless an update comes out, obviously, or a content update, because granted, things are still getting patched, or things are probably going to be patched. There are more than a few bugs in game. Some of them are kind of more funnish bugs, so those can stay. But I'm sure that there's a good chance that they get patched out. So we'll see. I think one of the more questionable ones, in my mind, not questionable in like negatively, but I don't know if it's going to be patched or not, in my opinion, is maybe the triple assassin bug, which is getting memed. It's confusing a lot of people who don't know about it, who are entering the community, and because basically the question is, how does triple assassin work? Either that, or people are really confident because they assume that it's working as logically intended, and it's not. For those who don't know, I've talked about it before, but just really quickly to give a general recap. Triple Assassin, you would think that Assassin, it kills anything that has 20 HP or under 20% HP. And you think that with Shanna has a perk that allows you to triple the effect of the next perk you take. If you take Assassin after you take the triple perk, you think that you would, some people, or maybe it's, one of the possible things that you think would happen is that you would be able to kill mobs that are under 60% HP. But instead what happens is that mobs are quote killed 3 times. I don't know if that's what's really happening. But the ultimate effect is that you're getting 3 times the kill. And I think 3 times the experience. I have not tested that out myself. But I just gonna believe that. Again, it's being memed so much that it's kind of hard to tell. But it's certainly killing things 3 times over. And I've only gone over the technical side once, but if I were to guess why, in Unity, which I think is the engine used for Minutes Till Dawn, this game, in Unity there's something called a free prefab. I consider it a kind of event. If it was called an event, they would call it an event, but I'm going to use its term prefab, because maybe it works a little differently. But Assassin the effect works on a prefab, and how Shanna's triple effect works is that it does this prefab 3 times. And so how it's implemented, it's not like it's tripling a variable, say kill rate, or checking, or like making a modification to an event or a condition that says if a mob has 20%, then you triple that 20 to 60. No, instead it does this prefab, or how I consider it in my mind, an event 3 times, and so therefore that's why mobs are quote-unquote, or practically dying 3 times. So that's, and then therefore drops 3 times the experience, if I am led to believe correctly, but I could be wrong. If nothing else, I'm just saying this for myself to kind of get my own brain flowing, but it's not working as some people thought it might be working, so... Or at least people who are not experienced with it, it's not working how they think it would be working. But again, that's more I don't know if the dev, well, I don't know if it's exactly a bad bug, but if people want it and or the dev decides to change it, it's not like I'm complaining, because, you know, the common sense way to think about it is that that should be how it works, and it's not. Although, balance, well, I mean, you're still killing things in one shot late game anyway. But if we were to think about it, I mean, that would just make, that would be the biggest jump to Assassin DPS. Granted, yes, and yeah, it's a very specific case. You have to be playing Shanna, who is arguably, I guess, the best character. Don't quote me on this, because I'm quoting someone else, or other people. The best character to go for high kill, high level runs. Mainly because I feel like it's mainly, if I were to guess, because I didn't look into the reason why, if I were to guess why, it's because she has a perk that gives her more experience. So, and then you put that on a darkness level where there's still a lot of enemies spawning, but you're not suffering from the, hey, you want to see a magic trick? I can make this boss disappear. Phew! Not exactly. The boss doesn't disappear behind it, but... Yeah, I forgot my train of thought now. God, goodness. Oh, no, Shanna. So the reason why Shanna, you would set a darkness level underneath reduced experience gain, but above, or to high level, because the more enemies that are spawning, the more experience you get, you know, the rule of top-down roguelikes. Unless, of course, you also reduce the experience gain. But you do that, you play Shanna, you benefit from her extra experience, and then you reach as high a level as possible with certain weapon combinations. So far, because of that, I mean, you can kind of intuit it based on that perk alone, that she would be capable of doing high-level runs. But high kill runs, it's because you can triple Assassin, and she's the only character that has a perk that literally triples the amount of kills that you can do once you get the setup working correctly. Otherwise, you're doing other meme builds like infinite shields or infinite invincibility, which is probably a bug. Which apparently, from what I see, some people say. At the same time, if you want to stay true, if you want to really, try and defend that existing, then you could say that the game is built around overpowered builds, and therefore being invincible is, a build you can make. At the same time, the counter argument is stronger in that, you're not really playing a game at that point. It's more just getting lucky, is how I would say what some people would say. And again, that doesn't help, and that's an argument that doesn't help me personally, because my RNG is normally bad. So, it. I'm not. It's not that I'm more neutral to this. I'm more neutral to Triple Assassin staying the way it is right now. But I mean, if you were to ask me, yes or no, yes, Triple Assassin should be patched. But I'm more neutral to that than Infinite Shields being removed. If nothing else, it's probably because of how the numbers work. Because values are tripled, or reductions in this case are tripled. So how it works, for those who don't know, Stalwart reduces your shield cooldown down to a minute. And I assume the reason why it actually becomes infinite shields, if that's not a meme, and I'm not being fooled, because again, there are a lot of meme-y things in the community that, confuse people at a glance, but once people explain it, it gets explained. But assuming infinite shields does exist, the reason for that would probably be, if it does that, the way that perk works, it reduces it by a set amount, so it's not multiplicative, so it's additive instead. But when you're tripling what should be something additive, you triple it, quote unquote, and then you reduce the time down to 0. So say, for an example, again, it's not a one-to-one to how the perk works, but I'm guessing something like the cooldown is, say, 60 seconds. A perk reduces that cooldown by 20 seconds, but if you triple that 20 to 60, then 60 minus 60 is 0, and therefore you have infinite shields, practically. So, I assume something like that is what's going on. Oh, I'm not going to proc Ethereal for this boss, am I? Well, we'll do our best, but maybe we'll just be focusing ads a bit more until we get Ethereal again. If I didn't have Ethereal, I would be defeating this boss a lot slower as I proceed to lose my shields. But I'm still doing okay damage, but it's not the most I could do. I think it's suffering the effect of burns. It's just so huge that you can't see it under the effect of freeze and burn. I assume that's because that's not the term for Unity, but the layer of the boss is higher, lower. Its layer is different from the effect of elemental effects. Unless it's just immune to elements, and that's why we don't see them. But the point is that I think the boss is burning still. Yeah, it is, because it seems to be taking damage. It's flashing white. But as I burn this boss down to nothing, yeah, it's because the boss's layer is above the elemental layer. So that means you can't see the burn effects or the freeze effects, is the point. I'm going to take elasticity. I'm pretty sure it'll bounce it at some point. I know Crossbow has very high penetration. Also, wait, actually, I do need to focus, because if I get touched by anything, I die because I'm taking double damage. But let's hope. Oh, that's right. Bounce can work against me, too, because it can bounce things toward me until I get Ethereal. But when things bounce toward, because I I penetrate through an enemy, and I think Crossbow has pretty high penetration. Yeah, it has high knockback, sorry. But if it penetrates a mob, bounces off something behind it, and the shot hits it from behind, yeah, that's why these enemies are being ping-ponged toward me, because a bullet is hitting them from behind, but it's not penetrating, so it knocks it, quote-unquote, it knocks it back into me, says essentially what I want to say. You know what? We'll do this. I think that may have been the best thing I had. Maybe not, but we'll find out. So I would like to kill 50 enemies as soon as possible, because again, if I get touched by... I have a shield right now, but my effective HP is ultimately at minimum 2 hits. But... oh, and I'm knocking everything out. I probably took a perk that increases my knockback, which is not good for my experience gain, by the way. Because that means it's pushing a lot of my experience away. But... Let's hope that it works out a bit more. So I need to make sure this boss die, or at least just walk towards this boss, because now I'm just painting the screen with all the colors of Scarlet's burns. But yeah, I don't even know where this boss went. Where did this boss go? Or the elite, I'm sorry. Where did the elite go? Goodness gracious. My experience. I actually might have lost the chest because I pushed the boss so far away that the treasure chest is somewhere else. Which I guess in this very particular instance would be nice to have a guide that shows me where the treasure chest is. But since I don't know where it is and I assume the boss died somewhere, I guess I'm not picking that perk up. Goodness gracious. And I left a lot of my experience behind. Yeah, I have no idea where the chest went. So, yeah, there it is. Hey, I found it, but it's possible that I might have missed it. Yeah, I might have completely missed out on it. So if I'm seeing correctly, things are ticking for 6. Okay, I mean that still makes sense because with the first of the burn damage increase, it goes from 3 to 4, and then with Scarlet, it would be an increase in 2 because that's why, and so that's why the value is 67 instead of 66. If some people are questioning about that, or 34 instead of 33 in the case of the lesser burn damage. Because if you do, maybe things round to the nearest number instead of round floor or round ceiling or round up. And so therefore it needs to be 34 because 34% of 34% of 3 is closer to 1 than it is to 0. I can't do math right now. Or maybe it's everything rounds to floor, which is why I said it that way that I did. I didn't mean to say round up, round down. So maybe how the math in this game, the logic, it always rounds to floor, so math.floor or whatever, it rounds down instead of rounding to nearest number. And so if you take 33% of 3, you get, I think you get like 0.999 repeating instead of 1 in some cases. So, and if you're rounding to floor, then you get 0, which means you get no damage increase, which is why it needs to be 34, so that 34% of 3 is at least 1. If nothing else, it stops the game from, it stops any weird things from happening. So 34% is a safe number to increase damage by in the case of burn damage. And then, of course, the same thing for 67%. I autopiloted the end of that, by the way. But that's probably one of the lowest levels I've finished the run on. But to recap, I'll show you my rune tree and then we'll get out. And then to preview, that means next would be Hina Flame Cannon. You'd think I'd be doing Scarlet Flame Cannon, but no. So, anyway, without further ado, if you really want to support me, please subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, I won't take up more of your time. Thank you for watching.